Tackle junkies, what's going on, everyone? Really appreciate you guys and gals for clicking on the video. Today we're talking about, I guess you would call it like boating safety, but really everything you need in your boat to be legal, okay? Now, this may change from state to state, lake to lake, so definitely check your area. But this is what I need here in Illinois for the lakes that I'm fishing to be legal. Okay, and guys, if I forget anything, let me know down in the comments. Majority of this stuff is stuff to be legal. Some of it is some like nicety things to have on the water. We're not going to go into like a ton of tools and things like that. We'll do a separate video on that if you guys want to see that. We'll go over that a little bit, but mainly what you need to be legal, okay? So the first one here, and I actually keep my life jackets in my truck. I'm not always on my boat. I might go with a buddy, or I might go to the ponds and on a boat out there, and I like to always have my life jacket. Now, I don't fish in them, but if I'm, you know, driving, or if we're driving in the boat, if I'm with a buddy, we're driving in the boat, or if I'm driving the boat, I do like to have it on. I'm not a very strong swimmer, so I do like to have a life jacket with me. Again, that's why I keep it in my truck. If I'm with a buddy, I know it's in my truck, so I never really store it in my boat. I keep a handful in my truck. That's something else. You need a life jacket for every person in your boat. So if it's just yourself, you need one. If you have 3 people, you need 3. So I keep more than enough in my truck for whoever comes with me has a life jacket, okay? Now, you guys have asked about this in the past, and I used to wear the, what do they call those? Like the automatic life vests, the ones when you go in the water, they go off. I used to wear those all the time. They're lighter weight, they're smaller, they're more comfortable and all that. But again, I'm not a very strong swimmer, and I always thought to myself, if I do go overboard, how do I know that's actually going to go off, right? The only way to know is to set them off or go overboard. So my luck, I'd go overboard, it wouldn't go off, I'd drown, you know, and my wife would sell all my tackle for what I told her I paid for it, right? You always see that meme going around Facebook. When I die, I hope my wife doesn't sell my tackle for what I told her I paid for it. But no, yeah, that's really what it is. I wasn't like, I didn't get the peace of mind with those life jackets anymore. So I went to just a regular life jacket. These are kind of pricey. These are just the Bass Pro XPS life jackets. I think they're around 80 bucks, but they're very nice, very comfortable. Got reflective tape and all that on them. Got some pockets, but just a very nice life jacket. So you need a life jacket. Okay, number 2, if you are operating the boat, if you're the driver, okay, you need a kill switch, all right? And it needs to be connected to you, either to your pants. You know, I keep mine there on my life jacket. That's really the best place for it, as long as you wear it as you're driving the boat. But the deal with your kill switch cord, okay, if you're driving the boat and you get ejected from the boat, as long as you're wearing the cord as you fly out of the boat, the cord will come out of the switch and shut the motor off. Okay, so if you're driving the boat, keep the kill switch cord connected to you. And obviously make sure it's in the switch, okay? So kill switch cord, I keep a couple of these on my boat. In case one breaks, I got a spare. Very, very important there. Now also, you need some sort, let me just double check my list here. Like I said, I made this for you guys, but I made it for myself as well. Every year I clear out my boat, get it all cleaned up. I want to make sure I'm putting everything I need back in it. So life jacket, kill switch cord, okay, whistle, air horn, or like a flare gun, something like that. Again, that may change depending on the water you fish. I do keep an air horn in my boat, and I also do keep a whistle. But again, I like the whistle in my life jacket. Little whistle here, got a little compass on it. Okay, I love it in the life jacket. Okay, why? Well, if I do get ejected from the boat, let's say I'm drifting away from the boat, or I'm injured or whatever, it helps to have the whistle on you. If you just have it in your boat to be legal and you keep it under your seat or whatever, well, if I'm out of the boat, it doesn't do me any good in the boat. So again, something like this, I do like to have on me. So again, that's why it's in my life jacket. Okay, so the life jacket, very important. Again, it holds your kill switch cord and your whistle. All right, I highly recommend doing that. Attach the cord to your jacket, keep the whistle on you. Okay, so that's 3 things. Now most of the stuff I do have put away already, but I will show it to you guys, of course. Okay, next up, throw cushion. Now the reason this one is out is because I used to have this tucked away under the seat. And I guess that's not a great place for it. Okay, the deal with the throw cushion. And I got pulled over a couple times, and this is what they told me. Deal with the throw cushion, obviously, if you're fishing with a buddy, okay, you need to have it accessible, like very quickly. So if your buddy falls out of the boat, you can grab the cushion and throw it to him, okay? And you also need to have, at least here where I'm fishing, you need to have a rope attached to it. So obviously if your buddy's out in the water and he's struggling, you throw him the cushion, you want to get him in as fast as possible, so you need a rope attached to your throw cushion. Obviously, if you're by yourself, not going to do you any good if you fall out of the boat because your throw cushion is, you know, in your boat. But you need to have one of these very accessible if you have somebody else in the boat with you. Okay, you will get a fine for that, or at least a warning, I do believe. Like I had mine tucked away under the middle part of my seats and had to take a bunch of stuff out to get to it. Now I just keep it loose in my boat. I tuck it up underneath my dash area, so it is ready. Most of the time I'm by myself anyways, but if I do have somebody on the boat or whatever, I do have it very accessible and the rope is right under my seat. Okay, gotta have a throw cushion to be legal. Fire extinguisher, for the obvious reasons. Yes, we are surrounded by water, right? But if you get a fire in the battery box, kind of hard to get the water from the lake in the box. Got to have a fire extinguisher. And if you buy a new boat, some of this stuff will come with the boat. Fire extinguisher, usually a paddle, your running lights, which we'll get into, that stuff comes with the boat usually when you buy a new boat. But fire extinguisher, and make sure it's still good. Got to be in the green. If it's not any good, not going to do any good. So definitely check that out. But you got to have a fire extinguisher. Okay, we did talk about, or I mentioned a paddle, so we'll go to a paddle next. Let me grab the paddles that I use. Now, I keep a lot of things underneath my seat here. Mainly everything in here is like tool stuff and safety type stuff, so let me dig some of this out of here. You can see the orange paddle right there below the first aid kit. Bunch of tools. First aid kit, paddle. There's my rope. That's a 100-foot rope. Keep under there as well. Now I'm not 100% sure that you have to have a paddle to be legal. Obviously it's nice to have if your batteries, you know, die on you. But a bigger boat like this, all right, having a paddle on a windy day, you're going to be out there all day trying to get back to the dock, especially if you're on some bigger water. So what I would suggest is definitely having a charged cell phone, and if your batteries die, call your buddy to come get you, because you're not going to make it too far with a paddle, all right? So I do have a couple of these in my boat. I like to have 2 in there in case I am with my boys. If I do have some dead batteries, I give one to my one boy and one to my other. That way I'm just sitting back and relaxing on the way in. But I think it is probably good to have a paddle on you for emergency. But like I said, it's going to be pretty hard to paddle a boat of this size into the dock if you are miles out. You're going to be wore out, if anything. You ain't gonna make it far. But like I said, it might be a legal deal to have one of these on you, but it's definitely a nicety to have a paddle. I guess a bit of peace of mind. But like I said, you're not going to get too far with a paddle with a bigger boat. Like I said, especially if you have some wind. But of course, it is nice to have a paddle. Most boats, when you get them, they do come with like a wooden paddle, but these are a bit smaller, saves on space, more room for tackle. So I went this route here. So anyways, gotta have a paddle. You know, I'm making little jokes here, but you do have to have a paddle. So let's go down the list here. life jacket, throw cushion. You guys seen the rope, kill switch cord, showed you guys the whistle, fire extinguisher, paddle. Let's go to running lights, okay? You're running and like your anchor lights. These you have to have. So my running lights here, I just actually keep installed in the boat. They just push down in here. It's pretty solid in there. Haven't had any issues with that coming out. This way I don't have to look for it. I know exactly where it is. So I just keep this installed right there in the front of the boat. So early morning, you know, as the sun's going down, you got to have this baby on right here. Okay, for your anchor light, there's the port there at the back of the boat. Now I would always have my anchor light on me, but half of the time I wouldn't want to get it out because it would be at the bottom of my rod box. That's really the only place it's going to fit for as long as it is, right? But I have this track on my crestliner here, and it accepts these mounts from Railblazer. I use these all over my boat for my camera mounts and things like that. But you can get these little mounts that go in them, which are great for like a net or, like I said, your running lights. So I just keep it here at the back of my boat. It's out of the way. So early morning, nighttime, if I'm anchored down, I can grab it and put it in. It's a pretty handy spot for that. I do have a discount code for Railblazer as well. I'll link that down below and pop a little code on the screen for you guys. Speaking of camera mounts, this is one of my favorite ones here from Railblazer. I have it on a top mount. All sorts of different adjustments on it. You can see here you can swing it any which way you want. Of course, I'll swing it towards the center of the boat when I'm sitting down, you know, doing a review or something like that. And it's great here outside the boat if I'm trying to get like a release shot or something like that. It's a very handy mount here. Like I said, all sorts of different adjustments on it to get whatever angle you want. And of course, you can move the mounts all along the track and put it wherever you want. So very cool mount here from Railblazer. All right, next up, we have a little first aid kit from Angler Aid. I do have a video on these. I'll link it down below. Definitely check them out. They do come in 3 different sizes. This is the smaller one here, but a great little kit for your truck, you know, for your boat, if you travel. It's nice to have a little first aid kit. A bunch of things in here. I did upgrade a few things and add a few extra things, but really anything I could need, you know, out on the water, you know, that I can handle myself is in this little kit here. You know, from Neosporin, Band-Aid, sunscreen, you know, the Angler Aid spray. That's great stuff as well if you get a little cut or burn or whatever. I got braid in here for the braid trick, gauze, ibuprofen. I mean, it's loaded down with, like I said, anything that I may need that I can handle on my own is in this little kit here. So if you guys want a separate video on this, I can totally do that. Let me know down below. Okay, so we did first aid kit. Your legal paperwork. You got to have your paperwork to be legal, all right? Now, I keep a lot of stuff back here in this back compartment. Let me get you guys in a little bit closer here because there's a lot of things in here. So this compartment back here I keep pretty full. Of course, all my Fish Monkey gloves are in here. Keep my registration. You have to have, of course, all your paperwork to be legal. Registration, fishing license, insurance, you know, tags for the lakes that you're fishing, things like that. I keep it all in a little Rubbermaid box here, and I'm good to go. So you got to have your paperwork to be legal. Here's the air horn I did mention earlier. Little air horn. Keep that in there. Of course, more Fish Monkey gloves. A bunch of buffs and things like that in here. Spare prop. Of course, you don't need a lot of these things to be legal, but it's nice to have. And if you guys want a full-blown video on all the tools and things that I carry, I can do that as well. Just let me know down below. But a spare prop in here. This here little waterproof Plano box. Extra batteries and Talon switches and things like that are in here. Okay, more gloves. I keep a little multimeter in here. Check volt and things like that. Keep that in here. Tools, little screwdriver kit in here. I got an extra kill switch cord in here. We got a socket set. Little socket set. I'm pretty good about checking all the nuts and bolts and everything on my motor and my talons, but you just never know. So I keep a little socket set in here. I keep an even bigger one in my truck to be able to handle, you know, the lug nuts on my wheels and all that. Of course, we got a little, you know, prop wrench in here. Little deal here to hold the prop in place. So just a little bit of everything. Okay, the last couple things here, and you don't really need these to be legal either. I guess we kind of turned this video into what you need to be legal to what I like to have with me. But, I mean, to be legal, you need a life jacket, you need throw cushion, you need a rope, kill switch cord, whistle, air horn, or like a flare gun, fire extinguisher, of course, your paperwork, your running lights, your anchor lights. Again, I don't believe a paddle. I don't believe you have to have a paddle to be legal, but it never hurts to have a paddle. And basically everything else is just nicety stuff to have on the water. Now I have a little box here, all sorts of things in here, from plug knockers and radiator clamps and fuses. But the main thing that I keep in here is a spare plug. And I have to buy the full, like, assembly for my spare plug on this boat. But you have to buy the housing and everything in here. But just in case the O-ring goes bad or maybe this cracks or whatever, I do have a spare insert there for the plug on my boat. So I do like to have a spare plug. But a spare plug and some sort of like portable power source. You know, I like to record obviously when I'm out on the water, charge a phone or whatever the case may be. This one here is from Dakota Lithium, the Power Box 10. What's cool about this one here, of course, you have your power, allows you to charge your cell phone or your cameras or whatever the case may be. Got some charging ports on top here. Of course, it has a SIG lighter deal too, all right? But also has lights, okay? So you got a little flashlight as well. That brings me to the last couple things that I always have on me, and that is a little flashlight. This is the Streamlight Micro Stream. I also like the little Macro Stream. Small, handy little light. Keep it on your pocket. And of course, you gotta have some steel. Now, one of my favorite carries used to be K390 steel. Great steel, super strong, but it's not great around water. I learned the hard way. Mine got pretty rusty over time. But this one here is the MagnaCut steel. MagnaCut, great around water, moisture, and things like that. It's not going to rust on you. And you'll notice too, it's fully serrated. I like a blade like that when I'm out fishing. You know, I like to crank a lot, and the lakes that I fish do have duck blinds, and there's a lot of duck hunters, I guess, that don't pick up a lot of their ropes and weights. And I get caught in them a lot, so I have to cut, you know, my crankbait out of the rope. Having a blade like that does a great job. But of course, it's great for, you know, fishing line and your props and things like that. But it's very handy to have a knife on you while you are out fishing. Like I said, I love one that's fully serrated, just cuts through anything. Super, super easy. And like I said, the blade steel is great around water. So guys, might be a little more than you bargained for in this video. Don't think you need all this stuff to go out and fish. But this is just stuff that you need to be legal and that I like to have on me out on the water. Well guys, that should wrap it up. You may have gotten more than you bargained for in this video. We went from things to be legal to pretty much everything I like to carry with me. But if there's something I forgot or something that you like to carry that I didn't mention, let me know down in the comments. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to smash the thumbs up. Love you guys. We will see you guys on the next one.